What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm Brittini.
I'm Fuego here.
And I'm Marcia.
Back with our last, or maybe our second to last. I'm not sure if we want to do a review of some of the shorts that we liked. We might still do that at some point. But this is a review out of the Phoenix Film Festival 2017, as well as the sub-branch of the International Horror and Sci-Fi Film Festival. Special thanks to Jason and Monty and all the people over at Allied for allowing us to come and cover the event, because what we're about to talk about is personally what I considered best in show this year. So we get to talk about Dave Made a Maze, which was directed by Bill Watterson. So we are going to be doing this one as usual. We're going to talk about the overall thoughts, the story, the acting, the effects. All of these things are very necessary, yes. So I'm super pumped to talk about it. Let's jump right into it. First off, I have to say that the thing I want to highlight specifically in this review is a lot of people in the horror community complain about all we get right now is reboots and or reimaginings or sequels, prequels of properties we've already seen before. They're like, why can't we get anything new? Well, folks, here you have a low-budget film by the name of Dave Made a Maze that is exactly that kind of film. It is something new. It does something that I've never seen before on screen in a horror movie or in movies in general. The amount of imagination that went into this film is, in my opinion, unparalleled. And frankly, this film needs to be sought out and supported as a result of that. If you guys are one of those people, if you yourself watching this are one of those people that say, I want something original, why can't I ever get anything original? It is your job to seek out Dave Made a Maze and come back to us and let us know what you thought of it. Tweet to Bill Watterson, let him know what you think of it, because frankly, I'm going to let him know and send him this review. Because they liked our trailer reaction, which we adored. It made us really excited to see the movie, and luckily, for me, the film delivered. And I've gushed way too much on just the overall thoughts. Brittini, what did you think?
I thought it was awesome. It was very original. The fact that a guy builds a maze in his living room and gets lost, it's ridiculously awesome.
Good.
Yeah, it was most definitely offbeat, and that's what I liked so much about it. It basically, for me, was almost like if Charlie Kaufman or Michel Gondry or like a Wes Anderson, and I know nothing horror at all about those guys, but their visual, imaginative style, if one of those guys decided to venture more so into horror territory with like a slight quirkiness to it, this is your film.
Yeah, it was amazing. And the acting...
Dave Made Amazing?
Dave Made Amazing, yeah. Yeah, it was overall really well done. I can't say enough about the imagination that went into it, and it really sparks a part of you that you haven't really utilized in a long time. I think especially when it comes to horror, you think, oh, it's got to be bloody, it's got to be gory, I got to like cry at the end. No, like this is just more, it's a comedic horror. It's light, it's fun, but very graphic and dark at the same time. That you're like, wait, that was pretty messed up. But but they do it in a way that you kind of feel good about it. You know?
It was well balanced. It was.
Yeah, so, and overall, they did a great job. The acting was awesome. And we actually got to listen in to some Q&A after the film, and just the work that they put behind it was amazing in such a short time period, and as well as like just the construction of the whole world that they created. It was cool. So.
The majority of the sets were created out of used cardboard boxes. So we will definitely get to the art direction and the set design of this film, because more than any other film perhaps that we've reviewed on this channel, that needs to be discussed.
Oh yeah.
Crucial.
So first off, let's start with the story after the overall thoughts, okay? So essentially the story breaks down like this. A girlfriend comes home from work or something.
On vacation.
Yeah, she was gone for a couple of days. And she gets home, and it's just this little apartment. But when she walks in, there's this cardboard constructed house fort. Fort really is the best way to put it. It's a fort.
Like a little kid's fort.
It really is. But it's all contained within the living room. But she comes in and she's like, what is this? And she's like, Dave, you know, and you hear Dave's voice played by Nick Thune, who is a comedian who I have to mention I'm familiar with mostly because of the Doug Loves Movies podcast, and he's been on At Midnight numerous times, normally sporting a big beard. However, he's beardless in this film, and I do want to get to the acting, specifically his, because I dug it, but he is... You hear the girlfriend hears his voice from inside the maze saying, "Hey, babe,
I'm inside the maze."
I'm inside the maze." Essentially, he gets across that he is lost inside the maze. He can't find his way out because it's bigger on the inside. TARDIS technology applies for you Whovians out there. And he's basically says, "No, you can't come in. I don't. You know, I know it looks small, but you'll get lost. It's too dangerous. Don't come in after me." And essentially, she kind of invites a friend over to help against his wishes, and then that friend invites a bunch of friends over, and they essentially have this little party around this fort, and they're all like knocking, and it's funny because when someone like knocks on the cardboard construct, the sound design, we need to talk about the sound design too, like every aspect of film went into this feature. Whereas a lot of movies just let certain things go by the wayside or just go half-ass on it. Every aspect of this film was developed well.
They were meticulous with it.
When someone knocks on the walls, you can hear like shit, and he's like, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? Stop. So eventually the group heads in despite Dave's warnings, and they have to try and seek him out and help him escape the maze. That's the long and short of it, and I think we can go into it from there. I loved the story again because of its uniqueness, but I don't need to say more than that. Brittini, the story for you?
It was awesome. The creativity, the originality that they had with this getting lost inside of this magical maze that this guy just made out of cardboard in his living room that somehow took on a life of its own. It's just so awesome.
It was
amazing.
God,
imagination. Yes, silly in concept and yet execution once again of the story is where it really shined, and not just with the set design, but the offbeatness really just. I mean, they somehow balanced everything so very well with the tone, and on paper you're like, what the hell is this gonna be all about? But once again, I really enjoyed this film. Top notch, man.
What I really liked is the story that most people get, like, I don't know, like, we haven't even talked about it yet, but Dave made this maze because he's never completed anything. He was out of a job.
Good call.
He was feeling really down, and he felt like he wasn't going anywhere, and he really wanted to complete something, so he had this idea, like, I'm just going to build this maze. And he started building, and he just kept getting ideas and running with it, and yes, it grew and made a life of its own, but it was him, and it was all him, and he was just like, I just got to complete it. And it was interesting because in the end, you know, it was very special, and it kind of said something about the relationship, about his perspective of his relationship with his girlfriend and vice versa. And there was a huge, like, very real moment that most people didn't really understand what was happening.
Someone even asked about it in the Q&A, right?
Yeah, it was, and it was really deep because it kind of like, it just reminded me of what a relationship is like when you're with somebody for such a long period of time and they're struggling and you're trying to like help them get through that. So that's kind of where I kind of got from it.
And that's something
that's an even deeper level than I got. That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's something that I wanted to piggyback on because I had totally forgotten about that aspect. You can tell the slacker not finishing anything nature has caused some serious friction in their relationship, and that kind of epitomizes the scene that she's referencing, and yet you can tell there's still care and love between them, and so that's where, despite the silly concept, the scripting was way deeper than you would even think.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think let's segue into the acting, because obviously we were all fans of the story. The acting I thought was great. I mean, all across the board. It was like there was different sort of, not necessarily even caricatures or stereotypes, but there were people you could recognize at the very least. And I know there was another comedian by the name of James Urbaniak that was in there. I unfortunately couldn't tell other people by name, but they all did a very good job, but especially Nick Thune. I was a big fan of him playing Dave, and you know, his sort of vulnerability while at the same time his desire to finally accomplish something. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people that can relate to the plight of Dave, that started but never, that has ideas that are just sort of unrealized, and he just wants to finally get one fully realized, and despite the fact that it's putting people in danger. He's like, the only way to sort of get out of this correctly is to let me complete it, and I need you guys' help to do it. So I thought his acting was phenomenal. I thought everyone's was.
Yeah.
You guys?
Yeah, the girlfriend did a really good job. She's like, her whole story arc, from being frustrated and annoyed and ready to just let go, to understanding and then wanting to help him and finally make this a reality for him, was this awesome transition.
I was super amused by the camera crew that's basically along for the road, following this and documenting the entire thing. I guess one of Dave's buddies is a documentary filmmaker, and he's like, haha, opportunity strikes. And his character was good. His sound man and camera dude were both funny. I mean, performances, once again, across the board, funny, offbeat, and really fit just the tone of the film very well.
What I thought was really cool was that, the main characters were amazing and relevant, and you really cared about them, but you also cared about the side characters too. Even the ones that are like really minimal, like you're just like, wait, what's going on with them? Like, it's just really interesting on how they were able to do that. Even like there was a couple that were in there having like a picnic in the middle of the maze, having a great time, and I don't even believe they spoke English, and I don't even know why they were there. They were like tourists. So it was pretty interesting, but at the same time, you're like, I still dig them, even though they have like absolutely nothing to do with what's going on whatsoever. So I thought that was awesome writing.
That's true. That's true. All the characters were fun to experience their experience in the maze. Even though, some of them were sort of less developed than others, it was still fun to kind of see what happened.
Plus, the acting of the Minotaur was.
We didn't even say. Actually, one of the traps. See, that's the thing. When everyone goes into the maze, they start accidentally triggering traps. Yeah. Sort of Indiana Jones-like traps.
Because it's more like a labyrinth than a maze.
Yeah.
As they state at one point.
Yes, exactly. And one of the traps is they release the Minotaur, which is this big. It's this essentially a big muscular man with a giant cardboard bull's head over him, but. It's really cool. Again, the design, the actual character design in this was amazing. So this Minotaur is this ominous presence chasing them throughout the rest of the movie. And I thought that was great. But the other thing that I think we need to segue into are the effects. But actually, you know what? I think perhaps we should talk about the set design first, because that leads to the effects after a fashion. So let's do the set design, which was amazing. As soon as they, not only, I mean, it's a typical apartment, but even the outside of the maze, which changes throughout the film, but it's so well designed. There's actually like smokestacks and moving parts,
turbines or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And then when they're inside, like they go into room after room, and no single room looks the same. Like
lit differently,
designed differently, and that's part of what I think Marcia was alluding to with the Q&A earlier, where they discussed. They basically built a room for a single day's shooting. They shoot that scene for the day, and then they disassemble it, reuse all the cardboard to build the next set for the next day's shooting.
It was like a 28-day shoot, I think they said, or less than 30 days.
Yeah, so they were building. They had one set built, and then they were building the next set beside
while they were shooting. So they're like silently building the set while they're shooting.
So then like the next day they would be working on that set and getting the next set ready. So it was just amazing
how they did that without hearing this sound even once.
Right?
How they got that audio, I don't know.
They're like, okay, we're in between takes, we're setting up, you back to work.
Probably just a lot of glue, a lot of super glue, and a lot of care, a lot of TLC. But so it has to be said that the set design and the art direction for the film was incredible, intricate, You see a lot of it in the trailer, which is running below us here for pretty much this whole thing.
Hi, trailer.
There's especially one room where there's a big face in the wall that shoots out.
One
Like that's the
and
thing.
he was,
It's
like,
cardboard,
drawing them in.
cardboard and paper.
Paper, yeah.
Colored paper and foldable paper.
Yeah,
like
the origami with some of the
origami
flying-
all throughout
yeah.
it. Like it's so interesting. And to sort of lead into what we were talking about, the set design also includes, as we mentioned before, traps.
Yeah.
But they're traps made of cardboard and paper.
Right.
However,
They
still
are
hurt the
deadly.
same.
they are
Yeah,
deadly.
very deadly.
But are they deadly? Because
I
here's,
don't
why don't
know.
you, so Marcia, tell what happens when they get deadly. I
Okay.
don't think this is a spoiler per se.
No, okay, so for one instance, one of the characters is actually, you may recognize her from Criminal Minds. She's
Yeah,
that
that's
blonde,
what she was on.
she's a little
yeah.
blondie that always has like goofy things going
Glasses.
on.
And she's like the tech girl, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the wacky tech girl. She was in it for not very long. Like she ends up, yeah,
Tiny bit.
yeah. She ends up getting like it was decapitated,
Decapitated,
Yeah.
and the blood was just like paper.
Paper
It's
and
ribbons.
yarn.
Ribbons,
Yeah.
yarn,
It was
yeah.
Oh yeah,
It was
yarn.
yarn
Yeah.
because she's like, is this my good yarn?
Yeah, so there's no, that's the thing, there's no gore per
Yeah.
se. Like this movie has to be PG-13, right?
I would think.
I think were there F-bombs?
there-
I can't
Well, there
Yeah.
might have been. I
Yeah.
can't remember. Oh god, if it's more than that, it's a bummer because it deserves
Yeah.
to reach a PG-13 audience.
Just
quite
like
Yeah.
frankly.
widest
Oh, yeah,
amount.
But yeah,
possible.
so the head goes away, and instead of like squirts of blood, you just see like streams, like an old school fire effect at a
Yeah.
play.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, like. And it's
It's
like
so cool.
it's so neat, and
Yeah.
like when people get sprayed, they get hit with like red yarn and
Yeah.
stuff like
Just stuck
that.
to
It's
you. You're like,
it's
Once again,
so
the imaginative
cool.
approach
Right.
coming into play.
When you
know?
first see it, it's unbelievable, and that's not even telling anything about one scene where it's a particular room of the maze that distorts reality.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we should ruin that. I think we
No,
should maybe leave that
no,
as a
no.
fun surprise
It
for
is a
people.
fun-
that alone.
Yeah, and that happened in various rooms where I mean, even the intro to the film was like an animated
Yeah,
kind of
oh, that's
approach,
true.
which was beautifully done.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I mean,
It
there
did,
were
it set
so
the
many,
mood.
so many different visual,
Yeah.
just distinctive, different approaches that they took in this,
Yeah.
from the cardboard and the maze to everything else. I mean, once again, imagination.
Yes.
It was perfect. It was horror, but it was childish, and it was like this childlike magic.
That's a good
that
way to
was
look at it.
awesome.
Horror through the eyes of a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In some ways, man.
That's not
Yeah.
that's not a bad way to look at
It
it
was
actually.
great.
So yeah, I think we've glowed about this one enough, you guys. You need to absolutely seek out Dave Made a Maze.
Yes.
Again, for me, best in show for Phoenix Film Festival 2017.
It was like
from the
neck and neck
International
with
Horror and Sci-Fi
Transfiguration
Film
for me.
Festival. Yeah.
So different in tone. I can't really pick either.
But again, I just see Transfiguration. You even said wore its "Let the Right One In" influences on its sleeve.
Yep. where
Dave
it's
Made a Maze.
completely like nothing I'd ever seen.
Completely
Yeah.
original.
Yeah.
So that in itself won the award for me.
Good job.
Absolutely.
Great job. Yes.
Bill Watterson.
Bravissimo.
Thank you very
Yes.
much. I look forward to seeing what else you do. This is phenomenal. I can't wait to get my hands on a Blu-ray copy so I can show everyone I know.
I'll definitely be buying this.
It's
Yeah.
fantastic. So
Yeah.
thank you guys very much for watching. Make sure you leave a comment down below if you're going to seek this one out. And if you have seen it, let us know what you think of it. But don't spoil it for the people that haven't seen it because
Ooh.
it's just making the festival rounds right now. And it would be a bummer if people had certain things spoiled. So
Yeah.
check it out. Thank you again for watching. I've been Cecil Laird.
I'm Brittini Lee.
Gracias, Jaime Fuego.
Now, March Parker.
And until next time, remember,
Stay
stay scared.
Follow them at Dave Made a Tweet.